You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 2nd day of October, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Today, our normal daily schedule will be a little bit different. Typically, Michael joins us 50 minutes into the broadcast for a recap of the live trading room and then some live trading on TradingView. But he has some issues to deal with today, so we're going to switch things up a little bit. And Michael is going to join us first, and then we'll do all the things we normally do. So, Michael, if you're ready, go ahead and grab the screens.
Okay, I'm there. All right, D, I can't hear you if you're saying anything.
No, I'm just waiting for you.
Oh, here I am. Okay, well, here I am. I'm ready to go.
No, I gave you the introduction, the whole nine.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I've been running around. I did get the call. I just got the call. So I'm going to do my recap, and then I'll trade for probably 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll pass it off, okay?
We understand. Your screens look good, so take it away.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 2nd day of October. Whoosh. 2nd day of October, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com. Right here, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required to sign up for the trials. Click on that purple button right there, and it's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. There are 5 multiple choice questions. Down here, we ask for your NinjaTrader machine ID. If you use NinjaTrader charts, then give us your NinjaTrader machine ID. If you don't use NinjaTrader charts and you only trade on Ninja, then we don't really need your machine ID. Okay, if you're just going to be trading on Ninja, we don't need the machine ID. But TradingView, we do need your ID for that, or your login ID for TradingView. So give us that right here, and then we'll be able to enable the indicators for you. Get your indicators indicating on your charts at the beginning of your trial. All right. So that was from this morning. Those of you guys that were in the room this morning, you guys are here right now. We just had a plus 85 alert on the 100 NQ. So if we go to 100 for each on the NQ, it should show. I guess it's showing it after the fact, right? It's taking a long time to get to a 12:04:22. This MNQ. I don't know. I'll go look at that in a few minutes. Anyway, the spreadsheet. That's where I was. We're up $820 per contract this morning. Today on the NQ we're up 144 ticks. On the Russell we're up 40. On the YM we're minus 20. We're break even on the ES. Today it took 5 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we got exactly the goal for the day on the Russell. We were up 20 ticks on the Russell. That put us at $1,000 with 10 contracts on, and we took a total of 17 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're $3,137 over 2 business days, averaging $1,568 per contract per 2-hour business day. On the year, so far this year, we've gotten our goal on 185 out of 185 days, and we've gone 99 business days now since our last non-green day. We had a pretty close one there last month. Right here it was pretty close. This was also pretty close. A couple of pretty close ones there last month. The last month ended up being our best month of the year. Right? And yesterday ended up being our best day of the year. Anyway, we've gone 346 business days since our last red day, so that puts us a year and a half ago. And on the year now, we're at $89,275, or 185 business days, averaging $482 per contract for 2-hour business day. If you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far this year you would have only had to work 54.2 hours. If you did everything just like I did and quit trading when you got the goal for the day, you would have only had to work 54.2 hours and you would have averaged $2,538 per hour. You'd be on 10 contracts right now, like I am, 10 contracts right now, and you would be averaging $2,538 per hour. Okay? All right. That is all of that. Now let's get into some trading here. I can trade for about probably 10 minutes. And hopefully we'll get some trades here in the 10-minute span. The MNQ, that was what the alert came from, right? Let's just look at that and see what it did. It should look pretty similar to the NQ. Okay, this is what it was right here. On the MNQ, it went over right here. Okay, that's why the alert was there at 12. If you look in here, it was on the MNQ right here. And what it showed is that you went over this. Now, when you're in an uptrend, this is not the alert you're looking for. This right here is the alert. This one right here is the alert you're looking for. We set those this morning. When you get this one and you're in an uptrend, it's telling you to look for the up close on the next bar. All right, look for the up close on the next bar. And there it was right there, and we're up over 100 ticks since that closed. So that was something we went over this morning in the session this morning. I actually recorded all of that, I think, this morning. So that recording is going to have some pretty good information in it when we make it available to everyone. I think it'll have some good valuable information in it. These were ranges this morning that I wanted price to get out of, so they're not meaningful right here. Just remove them. Okay, and we'll take whatever trades we get. Now let me see. I don't think we have any questions in here right now, and we don't have any questions in here right now. All right.
Nothing on YouTube at this point.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. I am looking here and there. Okay. All is good in this right now. Okay, so we're here testing the ribbon right now, and we're oversold on the 31 range NQ. So we want to get an up close on this bar that is the last bar didn't update. Hang on. Go here and do 31. Okay, the last bar is updated now. We're going to get an up close on this bar that's going to pull this out of the oversold. That's what we're looking for right now. Let me blow that up so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so 8 points from the bottom of the bar. The 69.50 is what you'd be buying. And it looks like this on your DOM, just like that. Okay, 69.50. And there it is, and it slipped me 2 ticks, but it gave me the up close. It pulled out of the oversold. You can see all 4 lines in the ribbon. So this is everything that you want in a trade right here. What you anticipate is that it's going to get up to this level right over here. Okay, 84.25. Now that is well beyond where my 48 tick target is. I have a 36 tick stop and 48 tick target. Now after we get 4 points in profit, we're going to run the stop to break even. Okay, so it's going to get up to right there. Run the stop to break even. Now we don't have any risk on the trade. Okay, there's no risk on this trade right now. And so we're going to get a break even right now, or we're going to get 48 ticks. That's the worst case scenario right now. Break even or 48 ticks. And now we're going to get 1 point or 48 ticks. Okay, it wants to get up above this. It can get up here to the price swing high. It really wants to do that, I think. It might take me out at 4 ticks, but we're looking for the up close of this bar right here. Once we get the up close of that bar, I'm gonna lock in a little bit more than that. Okay, so where are we in at? We're up at 12 ticks right now. So we're gonna get 12 or 48 right now. 12 or 48. Okay, and we're anticipating it's going to get all the way up here. Okay, so we're out with 12. We're still anticipating it's going to get all the way up here, right? To 83.75. We're still anticipating that. But we got 12 ticks in profit on that one trade. So that was a pretty easy trade to put on, do the whole thing. Okay. You should have been able to do that with me. There was ample time to put the trade setup, put the trade on, and wait for it to fill and manage the risk. Now, the stuff that we went over this morning, guys, I think, let me go out here and see if I still have that. I do have it over here. Let me hit refresh on this.
Russell may be the next one to set up.
Yep, Russell did put in a higher swing. We need to get a down close on this bar and maybe even a down close on the next bar to get this down to the oversold. I don't think it's going to make it in one bar. I think it'll take 2 bars to get down there. So we need 2 down closes on that. But on this one, we're just looking to get up above the prior swing high now. These 478s. That's interesting. Good stuff. All right. So we're just waiting here. The YM is almost there. We need a down close on this one to spread the ribbon out. And then we're going to need a couple of up closes to get it back up into the overbought. Okay. So right now, this needs to put in a higher swing. Let's go look at other stuff really quick because we don't have anything here right now. I haven't looked at Bitcoin in a couple of days. And clearly you can see it's not visible here in this range. Actually, I did look at Bitcoin today, as a matter of fact, didn't I? I don't look at it on a 30-minute. I did look at Bitcoin today, but I looked at it on the 10,000 range. Okay, so the Bitcoin had an opportunity back here a little while ago, and Bitcoin is having a good run here the last few days. Bitcoin is having a nice run right here. We just got up to that prior swing high that I was talking about a minute ago on the NQ. So we would have had all 48 ticks if I had let it run. But it's all good. I'm happy taking out little bits where we can get it. The Russell still hasn't closed down. The YM still hasn't given anything. The NQ could trigger again before the other ones do. But a quick look at the Bitcoin here. It's in a good spot right here. It's actually found a resistance level right here. The next level up, 61,928, 64,106, 64,106. So it's up here. Is the next level. Next target level will be up here. Okay, that could happen. It could happen. The next today, it could happen actually. Right. The Russell still hasn't closed down. The YM still hasn't done anything, and the ES isn't giving us a thing to work with. So the NQ is the only one that's got the ribbon spread out. We have just 1 tick higher on that swing though. Not a lot to work with there. All right, and it's 12:14. So sadly, I am going to have to wrap it up. D, are you still there? Okay.
I'm still here.
All right. Well, I know this was really fast, but I am going to have to wrap it up because I was told.
Okay, keep me apprised of the issues you got to go deal with.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it's an unexpected doctor thing.
Okay.
That I got to deal with. But all right, so that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Let me give you this. Let me wrap it up by saying if you've not taken a free trial with us, go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button and bring to this registration page. Fill out this form down at the bottom. Give us your machine ID if you have Ninja Trader and you're going to use Ninja Charts. Give us your machine ID. If you're just going to trade on Ninja, we don't need your machine ID. Right? If you're going to use the Ninja Charts, we need your machine ID. For TradingView, you got to give us your login ID because all that you do with TradingView is trade. and just use the charts. So you got to give us your login ID for that. Once you do that, we'll be able to enable the indicators for you and get your indicators indicating. All right. That is it, guys. With that, I'm going to pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Okie doke. Real quick recap of the morning session.
Today it took 2 trades in 5 minutes to get to $1,000.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. As I said earlier, as Michael departs, we will continue with our normal daily schedule. The topic of our devotion that we're in this week and 2 days into next week, divine direction. Our scripture today is Ruth 1, verses 16 through 17. And I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. But Ruth said, "Don't force me to leave you. Don't make me go home. Where you go, I go. And where you live, I'll live. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. Where you die, I'll die. And that's where I'll be buried. So help me God. Not even death itself is going to come between us." Now, that's a very popular scripture, and if you heard it from the King James Version, you might notice that it's part of many marriage ceremonies. I've done more marriages than I can remember over the course of my life, and that's right smack dab in the middle of it, where two become one. But we'll move on with the topic, divine direction. Yesterday it was stop. Today the word is stay. I've wanted many times and thought many times about how different my life would be if I'd given up when I wanted to. My story could have become something like, "Yeah, I used to think I was supposed to be a pastor, but I gave it a shot and things didn't work out. That's just how it goes." I'm certain you'll have to wrestle with occasional challenges in different seasons of your life. A boss you didn't think you could stand another day, a relationship that's suddenly hurting, a dream that's running out of resources, a move that's failed your expectations. When you face difficulties, it's natural to reconsider your huge life-altering decisions. You might want to ask yourself questions like these. Should I take my chances, quit this job, and look for something else? Or, after my spouse's affair, is it time to move on? Or, am I really cut out to run a business? Should I cut my losses before things get any worse? In each of these examples, and with most major life choices, you're at a crucial fork in the road. And it's time to decide. Should I stay or walk away? Often the best and most rewarding decision you can make is to stay the course, even when it would be simpler to turn and walk away. I'm not saying that you'll never need to walk away, but before you decide, ask yourself, am I choosing to give up because it's the right thing, or because it seems like leaving would just make life easier? Sometimes the greatest act of faithfulness, staying where you are planted. Years from now, you may look back and thank God that you decided to stay, when it would have just been easier to go. Remember, God made you in His image, and He is the author and finisher of your story. As a believer, you're not a quitter. You are a finisher. Ask yourself, God, is there anything I'm trying to walk away from that you want me to stay and finish? And then listen for the answer. God, will you give me your strength to press on? And again, listen for the answer. Now, while these examples apply to life in general, I'm sure that those of you who are traders have already in your own mind applied that to the business of trading. And it is a business. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we reflect on Ruth, we are reminded of Ruth's deep commitment and loyalty, saying, where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Lord, may we have that same spirit of devotion and faithfulness to you and to each other. Help us to stand with your people and with your truth in all circumstances. We lift up Israel in the midst of its current conflict, praying for peace, protection, and wisdom for its leaders. Lord, may you bring an end to violence, and may your hand guide the nation towards security and lasting peace. We also pray for America as the presidential election draws near. Father, guide the hearts of voters and leaders so that your will is done. Let truth, justice, and righteousness guide our nation in these critical times. May we turn our hearts towards you and seek your will above all. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen. Happy Wednesday. And while we're praying, pray for Michael's father-in-law, Jada's dad. I don't know what the particular situation or circumstance is at the moment, but obviously it was enough that it caused Michael to have to shift the schedule today, so please just keep that whole family in your prayers. Okay? All right. Let's go to the news. I'm sure many of you were glued to your television last night, and some of you could care less. And you know what? That's okay, kind of. I mean, it was a vice president debate, not a presidential debate, but it might have been the most important vice presidential debate in the history of our country. And remember, we're a young country compared to many other nations. Last night, Senator Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz faced off for the first and only planned vice presidential debate 2024 election season. You can't let it slip by you that there was no primary, none of the things that we normally see in a presidential election. All of a sudden, Joe Biden was the presidential candidate, and he wasn't going to step down. And something happened, and everything changed. Now, You can liken it to a Disney fairy tale if you want, or Stephen King horror story. Sometimes the two have a lot of parallels. In fact, Stephen King's, one of his most recent books, Fairy Tale, if you haven't read it or listened to it as an audiobook, I encourage you to. It's not going to change your life. You're not going to live life any differently. But if you're looking for entertainment, it's pretty good. The debate moderated, if you want to call it moderation, I watched it, so I know, by CBS Norah O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan, both who have publicly stated on many occasions how much they despise President Trump. And again, Vance was there, standing in, of course, for Trump, his surrogate, if you will. The debate featured exchanges on issues including immigration, abortion, child care, gun violence, and the economy. Vance and Walz took the opportunity to reintroduce themselves to the American public. And in what analysts largely described as a civil and substantive debate, regularly highlighted areas of agreement, directing attack lines toward opponents at the top of the ticket. Vance criticized the Biden-Harris administration on migrant border crossings and the cost of living. Walz pointed all the way back to the events of January 6th. That's almost 4 years ago. Trump has not been the president for almost 4 years. That was his talking point. Vance you know what? Let me stop because I'm starting to editorialize a news article. Let me just say this. Election 5 weeks away. Think about it. I mean, it would make your head spin. I mean, one day we're heading into a normal presidential election, and then all of a sudden, it's like some kind of fairy tale. Hence my previous reference. Vice President Kamala Harris is, according to the polling data, ahead of former President Donald Trump by roughly 2 percentage points. Now, I'm going to editorialize because it's my radio program and I'll do what I want, but always with respect to all people. You have someone who wants to raise your taxes personally and corporately, maintain a porous border, court violence in our cities, versus someone who wants to create jobs, put money back in average, ordinary Americans' pockets. You see, the people that we saw in the debate and the people that we saw in the previous debate, money is not an issue for them. In particular, President Trump. Yeah, he's done some fundraising, but not to the degree of the others. Okay? Can you buy an election? Of course you can. It's been done before. So, I want you to think and I want you to pray hard as I encourage you to go to the polls. If you're able to go to the polls, depending upon where you are in the country right now, you may not be able to get to the poll. You may not even have access to mail carrier service. I want you to pray hard. What's right for America? Whether you're red, whether you're blue, whether you're purple. What's best for the American people? Do you want to see? Because when corporate taxes go up, you pay more for goods. Price control, that's one of the first facets of communism. Is that what you want for America? I think most people don't, but I fear that the majority of Americans don't even understand what that really means. So I'm praying not only for our country and for our leaders, but I'm praying that God would reveal to those people who don't watch the news every night or watch both channels. We all know there's a red channel and there's a couple blue channels. Some people, if you ask them today, who's the Vice President of America? They couldn't tell you. If you ask them who was the previous Vice President, I bet 70% of Americans couldn't tell you. And that's just shame. Because the decisions that are made out of the Oval Office affect our lives not only today, but for generations. Which brings us to Iran, launching over 180 ballistic missiles into Israel yesterday, killing one West Bank Palestinian and wounding 2 Israelis in what Iran called retaliation for assassination of leaders of allied proxy groups, Hezbollah and Hamas. Israel's defense system, supported by the United States Navy, intercepted most missiles. It's not that they're bad shots, it's that we're good shots. If you have a son or daughter who could be potentially drafted into the military, who do you want running this country? Think about it. No, I really want you to think about it. Your son and daughter ships off to war. Who do you want running this country? Someone who understands what war is and the cost of war? Or for someone who it's just a idea, a thought? I don't want to get too political here, but it's really hard not to. Israel and U.S. leaders have vowed to retaliate against Iran for the barrage, which featured high-elevation ballistic missiles, rather than the drones and cruise missiles deployed in a similar attack in April. The nuke is just around the corner. Now, if you go back over 4 years ago, it would have been impossible for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. We were told last night they're 2 weeks away. Where'd they get that money? Let me let you figure that out for yourself. Okay? And if you're going to Google for the answer, you're not going to get the truth. Okay? You're going to have to find some other search engine to get to the truth. Sorry, Google. Just calling it like it is. Moving on, the wreck of the ghost ship of the Pacific, the USS Stewart, DD-224, has been found off the California coast, ending an 82-year mystery. The 314-foot-long vessel was found nearly 3,500 feet beneath the ocean surface. The Clemson-class destroyer, which is a bigger ship than I served on. I served on a frigate. was the only U.S. Navy destroyer captured by Japanese forces during World War II. After the U.S. scuttled and abandoned it near Java in 1942, Japanese forces salvaged it and used it to escort naval convoys. After the war, the U.S. Navy recommissioned the ship and ultimately sank it during target practice in 1946. The wreck, sitting upright and intact, was located using advanced robotic sonar technology and underwater drones. The torpedo-shaped drones were able to survey 50 square miles of ocean floor in one day. Only about 26% of the ocean floor has been mapped in high definition. The goal is to map the entire ocean floor by 2030. We all grew up with the threat, everyone in this broadcast, we all grew up with the threat of World War III hanging over our head. It's never been closer than it is today. And who can you thank for that? I think you can finish that sentence. And that would be the same person sending your son and daughter off to war based upon how you vote on November 5th. Now, I want to believe with all my heart that going to the poll in November can actually make a difference. But after the previous election, I've got to be honest. I've always said I would be honest. You might not like what I say, but I'll be honest to the best of my understanding. It's your son, it's your daughter. Your son, your grandson, your granddaughter. I don't have any kids. Skin in this game. Yahoo Finance's Julie Hyman joins Josh Lipton on asking for a trend to take a look at gold prices after Goldman Sachs analysts lifted their price target for the precious metal. Guys, I hear an odd beeping in the background. Hang on. Oh, it just went away. Okay. So, Goldman Sachs analysts lifted their target price for the precious metal. Now, of course, everybody's going, oh man, I should have bought gold when it was 500. Should have bought it when it was 1,000. Now I can afford it. Keep in mind, there's a finite supply of gold on planet Earth. However, most of it still exists, either in the form of coins or bullion or jewelry. Silver's a different matter, but we're talking about gold. We talked about this the other day. Most of the silver ever mined has been used up in industrial applications. But gold and silver both, it's a finite resource. When God created the heavens and the earth, there's X amount of gold created and X amount of silver created. And on the seventh day, he sewed it up. On the sixth day, he sewed it up in the belly of the earth. On the seventh day, took the day off. If you can imagine God taking a day off. But it does say on the seventh day, he rested. So, unlike a lot of the things that we trade in the markets today, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, okay? And even the US dollar. I mean, how much more will we print to support Ukraine. We have failed the American people by failing to defend our own border. President Trump, in the debate last night, Vance was made fun of because President Trump was unable to build a wall. He asked Congress for a lousy $5 billion. Zelensky visited America just a few days ago and walked away with $8 billion. Not to defend their border, but to make sure that their pension plans were fulfilled. You got to scratch your head and say, is that right? In fact, the material left over from Trump's attempt to build the wall, Kamala sold it off as scrap metal. Now, yeah, she's flip-flopped and said, oh, wait, maybe we do need a border wall. Who's the father of lies? Well, if you've read your Bible, you know. Let's get out of all this political stuff and move on. 1 year into the top job at payments giant PayPal, Alex Chriss is emerging from a period of heads down rebuilding with two simple messages to investors. PayPal's next decade won't be solely focused on payments. And the 26-year-old tech firm, can you believe PayPal is 26 years old? Will move with more laser-like precision to bring that vision to life. Now, according to Chris, 47 years old, in a recent podcast, he said, when I got here, it was obviously a great team and an incredible company with incredible opportunity ahead. But to be honest, it was just moving too slowly. And the world that we play in, this fintech world, is so dynamic, so interesting, with so much competition out there, that if you're not moving quickly, if you're not innovating fast, then you're just going to get left behind. The first-time CEO honed his craft during a 19-year run at TurboTax, now controlled by Intuit, where he oversaw its lucrative small business segment. He played a key role in Intuit's $12 billion acquisition of MailChimp in 2021, its largest deal ever made. Since joining PayPal, Chris has overhauled the entire leadership team, bringing in outsiders such as former General Electric CEO or CFO Jamie Miller. Once the fresh C-suite was rounded out, he cut projects to focus the teams on bigger bets and moving quickly. In the process, he is trying to find more cost savings to reinvest in new areas and improve profits. This has been one of the big things for me, shifting the company and the mindset from just being a payments company to really working across all commerce. We have hundreds of millions of consumers and tens of millions of merchants, and we are the one company that can connect the dots between the two of them. I disagree. And Mark Zuckerberg is a very smart guy. I certainly don't agree with a lot of his thoughts, but he has more. If you've signed up for a PayPal account, you know what you have to go through. At least you used to. I assume you still do. It's like some Stone Age archaic thing. They're going to make a few penny deposit in your bank account over the course of like 3 days. And then you've got to report back what those pennies deposited in your account were. And then you get approved. Facebook already knows who your mother is, your father is, if they're still alive, your friends, your cousins, who you hang out with, where you went on your last vacation, where you're going on your next vacation. Why? Oh, we used to be so wary of sharing our private lives with people. And now we broadcast them around the world via this thing called Facebook. Facebook should have eaten PayPal's lunch long ago. Now, like I said, Mark is a smart guy. There has to be a reason he hasn't chose to take that path. And over time, we'll find out. Shoppers with Amazon's Buy with Prime features can now pay via PayPal. The company will become an additional online credit and debit card processor for Shopify payments. It also said it would enable U.S. merchants to invest in crypto directly from their PayPal business account. Now, once upon a time, if you tried to sell any form of crypto and take payment with PayPal, they would close your account till you refunded every dime. Now here we are at a point in time where they're making it a part of their business model. Potentially one of their most profitable arms of business. The company started running TV ads with comedian Will Ferrell that highlight more ways to use PayPal and changed its iconic logo to a black font from its longtime blue. Does that smell like Twitter? I don't know. And the stock market. What would a financial podcast be without discussion of the markets? Stocks were mixed today as escalating Israel-Iran tensions fanned worries about a wider Middle East conflict, prompting caution in the market. Now, Israel's already said they're going to strike back, and Iran has already said they're going to strike back when Israel strikes back. So I feel almost foolish talking about escalating, the potential of escalating Israel-Iran tensions. Which other ways are going to go? And if you have any doubt, just go read your Bible. Stocks have been under pressure to kick off October as geopolitical concerns grip the market, dispelling the upbeat mood around hopes for U.S. interest rate cuts. At the same time, oil has extended a surge that saw prices spike over 5% yesterday, the most in almost a year, in a day. I'll leave you with that news. Digest it as you see fit. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis. It's crude, it's gold, it's silver, it's euro, it's bonds. We're currently in week 322. The recap was done this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Over the last 322 weeks, we have issued over 17,900 individual handcrafted alerts. Pretty soon I'll be saying 18,000. What we've averaged over the last 322 weeks on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. This week, for various reasons, we're a little light in the saddle. Today's Wednesday. Since the markets opened Sunday night, we've issued a total of 20 alerts. At the time of the recap this morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, we're still waiting on the outcome of just 2. It gave us 18 actionable alerts, of which 3, or 17%, would have been stopped out, again based on market structure, and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. So over 322 weeks, almost 18,000 individual alerts. The average has been on a weekly basis 20% or less. I think the worst week we ever had was 24%. The best week we ever had, maybe 26, I don't know. The worst or the best week we ever had was 0. Imagine that. Has nothing to do with magic or voodoo or any of that. It has to do with being able to read a chart. And that's the purpose of the logic alerts, to help you learn how to read the chart. When you first look at the business of trading and start looking at charts, kind of seems like chaos. Price just moves in every direction, to and fro, no rhyme, no reason. But as you learn to understand how price flows, there is a rhyme, there is a reason. And I point it out every day here on the broadcast. And speaking of the broadcast, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN, there's over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. You can go back in time, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, and you can see not only how we've evolved over the years thanks to the power of YouTube, but you can see me go through concierge trade alerts, analogic alerts on a daily basis. Now, again, has nothing to do with some great secret or holy grail. It simply has to do with learning how to read a chart. Understanding how price flows from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. So it's Wednesday, and while we're lighting the seat on alerts, on a typical week, we'll average 50 to, there's been a couple weeks we've gone over 100 alerts, but that had to do with market activity. So we may end up below the average on total alerts issued, but the percentage is hanging in there. I assure you, it's not rocket science, but there are certain principles that you have to learn. And that's why we have 2 hours of live training every trading day. That's why we have one-on-one mentoring sessions. And that's why we have our members-only workshop every Thursday night. Now, long before we had the logic alerts, we had the concierge trade alerts. They're different. The logic alerts come out around the clock, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., as opportunity presents itself. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Their day session is our night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs don't come out around the clock. They're posted as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. Now, Monday night, I got them out at 6:50 because I had things going on. Life happens. Last night, I got them out, Johnny on the spot, right at the open. Don't expect that. When that happens, that's the anomaly. Usually it's going to be more like 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. That's when the Wednesday session started. Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Unlike stocks, the Wednesday session started today at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Those who have learned the many reasons why futures are superior to stocks, this is very important. Now, if you're a member or trial member, make sure you read this information. It comes out every night with the CTAs. And if there's anything you don't understand, then ask and you'll get an answer. Every one of our members and trial members had every one of these targets last night right at the open. Okay? So with that in mind, let's go take a look at the daily chart and see just what happens. Oh my goodness. Did we say a few days ago that if price dropped to the 50% fib extension, it would give us most likely a good bounce? Seems like we did. And I think we said if price dipped below the 50% fib extension, that the daily BBC would give us a good bounce. I could swear I said those things. You might want to go to youtube.com/CFRN and see if I really did. Maybe I'm just making it up. So we hit the 50. Support. Nice bounce. The 50 is at 57.32, and we bounced all the way up to 57.72. That's 40 points. Remember, you only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Then we came down, we broke the 50, hit the daily BBC, and now we've bounced from 57.24 up to the current price around 57.51. What's the exact price? 57.55 it looks like. Okay. Now, the green line is called the BBC. It simply stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we anticipate lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we anticipate higher prices. Below the green line, lower prices. Above the green line, higher prices. Below the green line, lower prices. Above the green line, higher prices. Now what you'll notice is whether we pull up from below or pull down from above, the pull back to that green line holds more often than it doesn't. Price always reverts to the mean. And in our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. It stands for bull bear cross. So we get a leg and a retracement. It holds. Leg and a retracement. Holds. But we know eventually price will trade through. And when it does and retraces, it'll probably hold. and then a leg, and then a retracement, and the pullback holds, and then a big leg down to where this previous bullish cross was. Spiked it, spent the week consolidating there, and then took off like a rocket and went into this really odd consolidation period here, which took us down to the 50% fib retracement. But you got to understand, this wasn't the 50% fib retracement when it happened. This didn't become the 50% fib retracement until this new all-time high was put in. How is it the market could know that that was such an important area and such an important price weeks before it became the 50% fib retracement? That is a great question. If you have the answer, I'd love to hear from you. Hang on one second. Okay. All right. So last week, we talked about how the step line was starting to lean towards blue and climbing. Okay. Green line, I just explained, is the BBC. This is the CFMA1. Blue and climbing or red and falling. One is bullish, the other bearish. Okay. So when you're in an uptrend and you pull back to the BBC, CFMA1 may turn red because price is moving lower. Okay. But until price gets below the BBC, you're still in an uptrend. You're just waiting for it to return to blue and climbing so you can participate in the rally or the decline, whichever the case may be. So what have we done today? I hate to say it's everything we've talked about over the last few weeks. That almost sounds arrogant, but it's not. It's not about having, some great secret, some holy grail, some kind of magic or voodoo or whatever. It's just how markets work. We said if we hit the 50, and you don't have to believe me if you weren't tuned in live, go back and listen to the previous broadcasts. They're on YouTube. We said if we hit the 50, we'd probably get a great bounce. We did. We said if we broke the 50 and hit the BBC, we'd probably get a great bounce. And we did. Now, here's where you want to pay attention. Blue and climbing is directly above price. And when blue and climbing gets directly above price, that's usually an indication that it's on its way to becoming red and falling. You see, this is bullish. This is becoming bearish. Blue and climbing to red and falling. So even if we just trade sideways for a day, blue and climbing will become red and falling, which will take us back to the BBC. We've already had our bounce. Now it could become a greater bounce. But in order to do so, it would have to take out the high of the day at 72.25. It would have to take out the step line at 81.35. You can see it changing right there in real time. That's the step line, 57.8140. Then you've got resistance at the 62% fib extension, which is different from the retracement. Now, they're both using the same 14th century math, just applied in different ways. So we've come down, hit the BBC, caught a bounce. So one of two things now has to happen. We have to overcome the step line. First, we have to overcome the high of the day. or the session, then overcome the step line, then overcome red and falling, and then blue and climbing is pretty much right at the all-time historic high. Okay, so that would be 1, 2, 3 obstacles, 4 that we have to overcome. In order to move lower, we've got to get back below the 50, below the BBC, that's the big one. Then we've got the 38% fib extension, the 24% fib retracement, and right below that we got the bullish cross. When you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. Does it happen 100% of the time? Virtually nothing happens 100% of the time in the markets. Except a few things like important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. And there's others you've heard me say over the years, but I never ask you to just believe me because I said it. What I want you to do is I want you to test it out for yourself. See, until you test it, work it, and see it happen again and again with your own eyes, it's always just going to be something some guy said on the internet, and you've heard a million guys say a million different things on the internet. Until you put it through its paces, you don't own it. It's my knowledge, which I freely offer to you, but you've got to put it through its paces and make it your knowledge, okay? That's the road to becoming a trader. Now, institutional traders, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. It has to do with account size. And because of their account size, the size they trade in. Institutional traders are the ones who literally move price, up or down. So I encourage you to make it a part of your daily routine to spend just 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're about to trade before you drop to your smaller time frames and start trading. For free, you get to look over the shoulder of the deep pockets and see what they're doing or not doing. And that will help you make better trading decisions in your smaller time frames. Our strategy, our indicators, they're not designed to outsmart the institutions with their infinite resources, but to help you clearly see and understand what they are doing, because all you have to do is whatever they're doing long enough to get your goal for the day. Whether you trade futures or stocks or crypto or Forex or ETFs, make it a part of your daily plan. Especially futures, because futures trade overnight. Stocks trade overnight, but if you're here in America, then all you see in the morning is where it gapped up or gapped down. But here in America, you can trade futures around the clock. It's pretty important. Okay. So while the daily chart of any particular stock will stop moving at 4 p.m. Eastern, these stop at 5 p.m. Eastern, and a new one opens at 6 p.m. Eastern. So it came right down to the support we expected, and we said it would probably create a nice bounce, and it sure did. So what can you glean from this now? Not much. Are institutional buyers going to make a run for the high of the day? Are we headed back to the BBC where the market found support? The sheer fact that the market found support. Remember, price always reverts to the mean, and the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. All right. All alerts, both logic and concierge, are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magical about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose many years ago, and I've stayed with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If you're constantly searching for the right time frame, the one that allows you to always hit a home run and never get stopped out, you're wasting your time and treasure. And depending upon who you are and where you are in life, I don't know how much time or treasure you have left. Even if you're young, don't waste your time and treasure, okay? Don't look for things that cannot exist. Learn how price flows. The vertical line right here separates today, Wednesday, from Tuesday. Back over here is Monday. Where the market finds support on Monday at the zone. Zones are published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, for all members, all trial members. And once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Now, we had a huge drop yesterday, okay? We hit this zone, we bounced all the way back to this zone. Then we took out that zone and found support based on previous price action back over here. If you're serious about learning how to trade, you'll do the work and go look and see where that support came. Support sends the market looking for resistance. I may have mentioned the pullback to the BBC holds more often than not, and it did. And it brought us down to this zone where we opened last night, below the BBC, blue and climbing overhead on its way to becoming red and falling. And it took us down far enough to get you your goal for the day. But this was an odd spot for buyers to come in. That's why there can never be a holy grail, okay? I mean, just look at Logic 247. That's the best example I can give you. Over 17,800, 900 individual and handcrafted alerts. We still get stopped out 20% of the time. Because any institutional trader can put in an order, pull an order, execute an order without sending you the memo first. And so the market does something other than the next high probability thing. And you have no control over that. The only thing you have control over is how you respond to that. Okay? So buyers came in here for whatever their reason. We were looking for this low here, which we ultimately found. The buyers came in early, pushed us up to resistance, down to support, back to resistance, down, just shy of support. What's this low? 38.75. So we missed it by 3 ticks. Support sends us to resistance. Pullback holds more often than not. This time it sent us all the way to the target and through the target. And you'll notice this low or these lows. I was being a little conservative with the target last night. We actually dropped to 35.75. It's 36. 35.75. 35.75. Okay. Support sends us to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, back to support. We spike this zone. Now, this is the 9:30 open. I don't do anything during the first 30 minutes of Wall Street trading. Volatility is necessary for the purpose of trading. But helter-skelter volatility, that's just not my wheelhouse. Michael does a great job jumping in right at the open, sometimes a few minutes before. He does well. But ask yourself, you? Just because he does it, does that mean you can do it? See, you got to find what works for you inside the rule set that we offer you. And nothing in the rules says that you have to start trading at 9:30 or at 10 a.m. or at 10:15. Okay? You got to find inside the rule set what works best for you. So from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, we spike the target. If you look left, you'll figure out why. We get back above the BBC. We spike it. And we come just shy of the weekly zone published Monday morning. Get to 72.25. The zone's at 74.75. That sends us back below the BBC. The step line is about to cross blue and climbing. Do I expect price to drop back into this area at 57.43? Well, tell me. Does that look like a logical, reasonable window of opportunity? First, you got to believe that price flows from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. With the understanding that 20% of the time, price will do something other than the next high probability thing. Okay? So, could price reverse here? Get back above the BBC? Run into the zone, resistance, and this resistance here? Yeah, it could. Could it overcome it and go back to challenge the high of the day? Yeah, it could. I mean, it's green right now, right? But can it overcome the BBC? That's the question. Path of least resistance appears to be to the downside. But you have to embrace all possibilities. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. Again, we dropped enough to get your go for the day. But buyers came in early. Sent us back to resistance. It sent us down to support at the short target. You can obviously see where that short target came from. Right here, you see that? Once you got below blue and climbing, this candle opened. It's candle opened at 375 and dropped 50 points, 325. Actually, it dropped. Yeah, this one hit it on the nose. The next one dropped through it. Back to resistance, back to support. The support here is this low right here, which is also this low right here. Now, this is a huge candle. This was the 9:30 opening candle, but look where it found support. This low right from yesterday. Really important. Price gets back above the BBC. We get a leg. We get a retracement. We get a leg. We get a retracement. All in the same 30-minute candle. Another leg. Another retracement. So now we're sitting on support at the weekly zone and the BBC. However, right here is resistance, resistance, resistance. Now, while I'm not prone to these types of trades myself, 455 up to 475. That's 30 points. Only takes 20 points to get your goal for the day. But if price consolidates for a little bit, this is going to drop. And that's your first obstacle. And then the high of this candle. And then blue and climbing. Then the high of this candle, and then the high of this candle. Okay? All right. Russell. Here's where we opened last night. We dropped. Again, buyers came in early. Pushed us up to the BBC. Resistance sent us down almost to support. We missed it by 7 ticks. Back up to resistance, back down to support. When price reaches a weekly trading zone, 70% of the time you'll get consolidation. 20% of the time you'll get rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. When price slices through a zone like it's not even there, when it runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice, which is exactly what it did. Okay? So now we've run up, we've hit the zone resistance, the step line crossed, we've pulled back to the BBC, so now we're poised for a rally back up to the zone overhead. But we got to overcome the step line, we've got to overcome blue and climbing, got to take out this high in order to get there. But the good news is you only need 2 points. Okay? So from 22.19 to 22.21, that right there would be your goal for the day. On the NQ, we dropped. Buyers came in early on every one of the indices. Pushed us up to resistance. Set us back down to support. To resistance, to support. This time we overcame the BBC and we made it all the way up to the long target. First we hit the short target, and we hit the long target. Where are we now? We're parked right on top of the BBC. With resistance right overhead. If blue and climbing becomes red and falling, then your window of opportunity is going to be to the downside. A long trade here, I would hesitate because there's resistance times 2 right there, then again right there, I would wait for price to get up here for a long trade, and I would wait for price to get down here for a short trade. Either one would give you your go for the day. Crude oil. Here's where we open. Up we go to the long target. Up we go to the weekly trading zone. That is the highest weekly zone this week for crude oil. Put in a double top there. We get back below the VVC. Now this low right here, if you look left, we came in, buyers are coming in a little early right there. But this isn't done. The step line is starting to hook right. Once it crosses red and falling, the highest probability is that it will retrace back to the VVC. Price always reverts to the mean. So we've hit the long target, but not the short target yet. Gold. Now we know gold's been at all-time historic highs. We had a double top yesterday right at the zone. Came down to the VVC, bounced into red and falling. Red and falling took us back to the VVC where we consolidated, and then came the drop. And that drop took us all the way down to the target. The zone is 67/68. This low is 67.9. And then we're still in the zone. So we have support here to resistance, back to support, and price attempted to get to the zone overhead at 26.86, but it was unable to take out this high from early in the session. You're always looking left. It's the best thing you can do. Here's where we opened on silver. You only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. So that would have done it right there. The BVC resistance set us down to the target. This low. We spiked that low. We didn't make it down to this area or this area. Buyers coming early. Took us up. Got a leg. After a leg, expect a retracement. Pull back held. And that sent us through 1, 2 zones. Now, if you go look, the high today, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Friday the high was 32.59. Today the high was 32.59. I hope you understand the importance of this. Okay? Yes, you can use your smaller time frames to trade the market so that you minimize the risk. But without the guiding light of some larger time frame, you're just gambling. Okay? We hit the zone and find support. Rally all the way up to the zone and find resistance. Back to support. We dropped through support. And that took us up. Leg, retracement. This leg, it again goes from Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Now, what's magical about 32.58? Nothing. Other than it's obviously an important price, important area. Because on Friday, it couldn't break it. And 3 trading sessions later, it couldn't break it. It sent price all the way back to the VVC. But again, the good news with silver is you only need 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. The euro, pretty quiet. Here's where we opened last night. Hit the BBC. Got a little drop. Got above the BBC. Basically this high right here. We punched through it, I think, just enough to fool some people. And then just more sideways stagnation. And then finally a drop down to the short target. And we're back to the daily chart. What's changed? Not much. Where price closes today, as I say every day, will be very important. Okay? Into the close, if price drops below the 50 and manages to get below the BBC, you know you've got potential support here, here, and really important, right here. Okay? But you got to embrace both possibilities, or all possibilities. The price can only go up or down. It can go sideways for a little bit, but if it goes up, it's got resistance here, and resistance here. When I say that the logic alerts help you learn to read the chart, if you'll take that to heart, stop trying to just trade the logic alerts so you can make a quick buck and call yourself a trader. We want you to learn how to trade. And in order to learn how to trade, you've got to learn how to read the chart. You can become a member today if you're not already at mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, you can call us at 949-42-EMINI. You can email us support@cfrn.net. Becoming a member, what does that entail? 2 hours of live training every trading day in live markets. Private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own are fluid across all markets, all time frames. If you're sitting out there going, well, I'm a stock trader, that's okay. What we do works across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, and all time frames. The markets are fractal in nature. So that BBC that I showed you on the daily and on the 30-minute, you can put it on a 5-minute, put it on a tick chart, put it on a range chart. Keep in mind, or a weekly or a monthly chart. But keep in mind, the larger the time frame, the more important the information that chart's giving you. We trade off of the smaller time frames in the live trading room to help new traders reduce their risk. And that's important. You don't want to blow out all your money before you learn how to trade. And sadly, that's what happens to most traders. They've got 10 grand stashed away somewhere, so they put it in an account and they just start trading. Oh, they probably read a few books or a few blogs or watched After the Bell on CNN or whatever. CNBC, wherever it shows up. Oh, I got it. Do you? If you follow the 24/20 blueprint, you're not going to start trading live. You're going to trade in your demo account until you prove to yourself that you've actually learned how to trade. You got to put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Then the blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Just one. Now your goal is to increase your account balance by 2 grand. Once you do that, you'll get the green light to add a second contract. The difference between the first and second contract is the first contract is funded with your startup capital, but the second contract is funded with profit you earned in the market. Big difference. The blueprint will tell you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, all the way up to number 20. The S&P 2 points with one contract's worth $100. Once you earn your way up to 5 contracts, those same 2 points are worth $500. And as you continue to earn your way up to 10 contracts, those same 2 points are now worth $1,000 a day. That puts you in the top 3% of wage earners worldwide. That's not some fantasy. It's not some theory. It's a statistical fact. Okay? But you have to be consistent. You can't come in one day and go, oh, this looks like an up day, so I'm going to swing like this. Oh, today looks like a fast day, so I'm going to swing like this. Oh, this looks like a slow day or a down day, I'm going to swing like this. You have to become the constant integer in the equation. And until you do, the market will just whipsaw you to death. I don't care how much money you have. It will eventually capture it all unless you learn to be the constant integer in the equation. Go here to become a member. Call us 949-42-EMINI with any questions. Email us support@cfrn.net. That's going to get you 2 hours of live training every trading day, private one-on-one mentoring. You learn the strategy, own the indicators. You'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, the concierge trade alerts every night when they're published. You get the weekly trading zones every Monday morning when they're published. And you'll be able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's tomorrow night. So if you've been on the trial and you're ready to actually become a trader, then make sure you check out that email you're going to get today and probably again tomorrow with very specific instructions on how you too can become a passport holder. Good word for the day. Miles, you get the 24/20 blueprint when you become a passport holder. What a great question. Our good word for today. We started yesterday refusing to live in fear. Today's part 2. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. Psalm 118:6. Think about that. The Lord, creator of the heavens and the universe, is on your side. So, why fear? You're already on the winning team. You're on the team that already won. Why fear? Sure, there's going to be ups and downs and bad phone calls and, bad letters that come in the mail and blah, 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 and bad news that hit you when you least expect it. Now, let me pause for just a moment to your question, Miles, and again, I thank you for your question. Not only does the blueprint walk you through going from demo to live, but it also helps you create your business plan and your trading plan. Those are both very important. And 9 out of 10 traders don't have either one, don't even know they need either one. Every successful business in America, from a donut shop to IBM. They got a business plan. They also have an operational manual, and that's what we call your trading plan. As you're working to put together your 10 consecutive days in a row in SIM before you go live, that's when you work on your business plan and your trading plan. And when you get it finished, you submit it to me or Michael. We'll review it. If there's anything in there that's unrealistic, we'll let you know. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have a teacher. And you could probably lump in, they have unrealistic expectations. I talk to new traders all the time and I go, well, what's your goal? What's your goal for this trading business you want to start? Well, I want to take 20 points a day out of the S&P. Okay, well, that's a noble goal, but it's not realistic. And unrealistic expectations will sink your ship faster than anything. Now, because you're new, you don't know what's realistic and unrealistic. So we help you with that, both in the 24/20 blueprint and in your one-on-one mentoring sessions. Okay? All right. And if you've already become a member, you were sent the 24/20 blueprint in that initial barrage of emails from Valerie. But if you can't find it, or you deleted it, or just don't know where it is, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Hey, Valerie, I became a passport holder, but I don't have the 24/20 blueprint, or can't find it. She'll send it to you again. Okay, picking up on our good word for the day. Refusing to live in fear, part 2. God has created you for a life of growth, adventure, and acceleration. But you must take bold steps of faith. And you can't do that if you're perfectly satisfied to live in the safe zone. Even when you feel afraid, don't let it stop you. Feel the fear and do it anyway. You say, will I ever stop being afraid? Yeah, when you get to heaven. Feeling fear is part of being alive. You will experience fear when you try something for the first time, or when the obstacles in your path seem insurmountable, or when you feel like your resources are not equal to the challenge. None of this means you're a coward. It just means you're human. Feeling fear is merely the temptation to flee from what you need to confront. Feeling fear is not the same as being afraid, because being afraid means allowing fearful feelings to take control of you. But you don't have to. You can feel anger, yet choose not to act on it, and instead respond with forgiveness and love. In the same way, you can feel fear and not let it make your decisions. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? Hebrews 13:5. Now note those two phrases. He has said, and we may boldly say. So stand on God's word today and declare, I will no longer live in fear. That's a good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.